Is about 3 years too late for a second installment? Whatever the answer, I don't care. Here's round 2 of Q&A. First up, Edgy Ziggy asking, how do you typically balance your in-real life style? YouTube, streaming, school, etc. What usually takes priority over the others? Also, when's that face reveal coming? To quote, Don't Exterminos de Demonios from DMC, Devil May Cry, not in a million years when it comes to the face reveal. If I feel confident later down the line or if I have the tech, maybe, but in terms of right now, or even anytime soon, nope. Nope. But when it comes to me balancing real life schedule and everything, it's kind of a weird scenario. So, for over the past year, I haven't been in school, actually. I've taken a bit of a year off, just because I kind of don't know what I should do next. And it has given me quite a bit of time over the past year to do some more stuff, stay up late, of course, over more days and weekends and all that, and do more streams in general, but by around next August, I am going to have to go back to the grind and get some form of quote-unquote normal schedule out of the way. But generally, I try and say real life goes first. Like back when I was in school and working, I always typically had the principle of do schoolwork first, do everything else first, then focus and worry about streams or gameplay or anything else later, which did of course impact when videos came out, or of course how long I could even edit them. I mean, yeah, that's generally how it is for me, so yeah. Winterflower asking, what would you say is your favorite game you've ever played? Sorry if this is a tough question. It's all fine, trust me. It's all fine. But favorite game I've ever played? Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. I don't even think that's a question for me. It's such a nostalgia-bound game for me. A game I've played so much in my childhood and even now that it's kind of irreplaceable to me. This game was truly the game that got me into just gaming as a whole and really addicted to just playing through stuff like this. And it kind of set me on the course I am right now. And hey, even if modern Pokemon might be a bit shit, I at least have this to come back and play. And I'm currently actually doing a playthrough right now off stream, off camera and all that. And just overall enjoying everything about it and just being able to play it once again. It's like no matter how much I play that game, I can always come back to it. No matter how many times I've gone through or done maybe the same team, or had to go through all of those loading screens, or all the amount of times I've had to go back and forth, all the towns, and all the Shadow Pokemon I've captured, this is just the one game I can always come back to and play. It is my relaxation game, and it is by far, without a doubt, without question, my favorite game of all time. I love it. I absolutely love it. And while on the Pokemon note, Gabriel Gonzalez asking, what do you think of Brilliant Diamond / Shining Pearl and Legends Arceus? Oh boy, Pokemon talk. Talk about this. I've talked about this on stream before, but the remakes, I don't want to seem like the meme where it's like people asking for Gen 4 remakes for over 10 years now, here's the Gen 4 remakes, and they complain. But it's like, there's a lot of off-putting things about it for me, and it generally comes down to the art style and the way everything is meshed together and done. Like, by itself, I think some of the things in the game, or what we've seen thus far, can look good, but the way it's done in-game and just, again, cobbled together with the rest of the product really does not fit well at all. Chibi art styles aren't inherently bad, but it's the way it is done in this game and also just the models and how short and stubby everything looks. It reminds me of that toy of Singular Point Jet Jaguar. I can't fucking take it anymore, seriously, I'm at my limit. I think it's also the battles. Because, like, the overworld is going for this really unique, weird, chibi art style and simplistic graphics and all that, and that's fine if they want to go for that. Hell, the Pokemon Rumble games have an art style similar to that with little bobbleheads as the characters and mons, but then you go into the battles and it's like, oh wait, no. Now all of a sudden, it's the typical style of battling from Gen 6 onwards. It's the same kind of models and attacks and backgrounds and everything, and it just, I don't know. I'm not feeling strong with these games. These remakes don't exactly look all that impressive to me, even compared to the likes of the ORAS remakes or even Let's Go. Let's Go was a weird game, but it's like, I don't know. I could still say Let's Go looked good and visually was nice and the following Pokemon. And hey, even the environments like in the gym battles and the backgrounds looked all nice. Whereas this, it's mediocre. And also, I don't know if it's gonna be, like, if these games are going to have the makeovers and upgrades that Platinum gave. Because Platinum is the definitive version of the Gen 4 Sinnoh games that you should play. Speeding up the combat and everything else to do with the game, adding more fire types or regions. Those are just a few things I can list off the top of my head. But then it's like, for these remakes, are they going to just go back to the Diamond and Pearl style? Or are they not going to factor those Platinum quality of life changes into the game? Because if so, then why even play it? Just play Platinum. Why are we making a game post-Platinum that doesn't use the Platinum features if you're making a Gen 4 remake? Like, why? That wouldn't make sense. And then Legends Arceus. In a vein similar to that of the Gen 4 remakes and people asking for them, it's like, I know we've been asking for an open-world Pokemon game since the Switch was announced, basically. Or like, hell, even before that, with the likes of the GameCube Pokemon games, with Stadium, Coliseum, and even Battle Revolution. We've all been imagining this kind of Pokemon game, and this has been, I'm pretty sure, everyone's wet dream as a Pokemon fan. But, like, seeing it in that trailer and how it's being shown off, it's kind of a wet fart. I think what really does it in for me is that, like, this is a Pokemon game, an open-world Pokemon game that just kind of feels like the bare minimum of an open world in terms of optimization and how everything looks, in terms of quality and frame rate and everything else. It just looks the bare minimum, which, considering that this is a game coming 4 years after Breath of the Wild, I feel like that's kind of inexcusable. And then hell, look at all these other games on the Switch that are kind of pushing it to its limits and redefining their own genres. Hell, look at Monster Rise with the Resident Evil frame and engine being run on the Nintendo Switch. And the RE engine is a very powerful engine, and yet here it is running on the Switch and all of these optimizations that they're having to do. And then here's Pokemon 4 years late to the punchline and just kind of doing the bare minimum. And I know people might say we've only had one trailer. Oh, don't worry, it could improve. But then I look at Sword and Shield's trailers and, oh, it can get better. The N64 tree can get better. It can get better in the main game. It didn't. N64 tree was still there, and it did not improve at all from the trailers. And it's also like this assumption that people are like, oh, the game's in beta or alpha or whatever. It's like, no. If they're announcing a game like this that's coming out early next year, that's not alpha. By the time they're announcing a game like this, it's near production. And it's like, you have to consider the cycle of game production and everything going into its development. I make an estimate that this game has probably been in development for over 3 years at this point. And if they're announcing it and it's coming out in early 2022, then yeah, no, it's most likely close to production or getting the final touches established on it. So there's not really a lot of room they can have for big overall quality changes. And if they're that confident and happy in the product and the overall development they have, they're that proud of it to the point where they show off a 2 FPS Chingling, then no, I'm not really looking forward to this game. Like, so many things in the game look so rough and unfinished, and like, even other things like that, like a jittering Badoo, and the Chimchar out in the wild, and all that, it just, hell, even the textures of Amon, like the Rhydon, or Rhyhorn, out in the open world where it's like there are these rocky rhinos that just walk around, and there's no differentiating in terms of texture, there's no color difference. Hell, Lucario, which is part steel type, it's like, it all looks the same on him. Like, the steel spikes don't look like steel, they don't shine like steel. It all looks the same as the rest of his body, and there's no difference when it comes to his fur, his textures, or hell, even anything else in the game. And it's also everything else, like the draw and render distance, the trees, and just the overall quality of an environment. And I'm gonna say something right now, I think Genshin Impact looks better. Like, holy shit, Genshin has its frame rate and performance issues out of the ass, especially with PS4. But it's like, God, at least Genshin actually looked really fucking good, considering what it was running with in a lot of places, and there were spots where it's like, okay, yeah, no, this looks really good. And you can see that there was quality and time put in. It's like, ugh, that's not good. That's not a good impression. I want to believe that the game could be better. I want to believe that as a first open world Pokemon game, it could be good. But as the first open world Pokemon game and on the Nintendo Switch, 4 years after Breath of the Wild, you're gonna have to do more than just be okay. You have to be more than just, it's fine. You have to shake up the game. You have to shake everyone's expectations to the core. And this is also post-Generation 6 skepticism with Game Freak going on, where it's like, I just don't think Game Freak handles Pokemon all that well. They don't know how to staff people, they don't know how to get people to animate properly, they don't give people enough time, they don't give the games enough time, because all they care about at the end of the day is money. All they care about is releasing the games on time to coincide with everything else, like the marketing, the anime, and all of that, and the trading cards, especially considering the boom that trading cards have gone within the past 6 months or so. And it's like, they don't care about making a good game, they care about making a profitable game. Like, I'm not optimistic about the Generation 8 remakes or Legends Arceus, and while I hope that my doubts are crushed and I can enjoy the games as good, great, even competent open world games and be blown away, I don't get that impression. I don't think that's gonna happen. And I'm just at the point with Pokemon, with the modern Pokemon franchise, and Game Freak as a whole, where it's like, I just don't care. I have a sense of apathy. If Game Freak's not gonna care about the franchise and the quality, then, well, why should I? A very pessimistic and negative take, I know, but I'm just kind of fed up with modern Pokemon game, and I'm sure that many people can understand and relate to that idea. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on the issue. Dragon King Leonidas asking, first ever weapon you used when you got into Monster Hunter? So this would be back in Try? I'd like to say the first weapon I used was either Sword and Shield or Hammer. And yeah, it's funny considering that it could be argued that Sword and Shield was possibly one of the worst weapons when it came to underwater combat and the changes with it, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the weapon I used, as well as Hammer, because of guides and all that. And hey, for as much as I meme about Hammer and the people who use it, it's like, Hammer's a really fun weapon. It's a really fun weapon to just play and use against monsters, and it's satisfying as all hell to bonk in the enemies' heads and get KOs. But yeah, I'd say those are the closest estimates I can get on the first weapon / weapons that I used in Monster Hunter. So yeah. Skittlefish asking, would you want Tonfas or Magnet Spikes from Frontier in the main series? I personally would, they seem pretty fun to me. Well, yes, very much I would like to have them in the main series, but the correct answer to this is Extreme Swax, or Slashaxe. I wouldn't even care if Tonfa or Magnet Spike was brought over if they simply just had Slashaxe in the main series, because that is probably the most fun iteration of Switch Axe of any game, outside of like Rise Switch Axe, which is amazing. But it's just like, oh my god, it's a Switch Axe that counters. It has a counter button. It has the dash function. It has an energy sword mode and build up gauge to that energy sword mode where you counter and can still counter to build up that gauge and go into energy sword mode, and you do all these slashes, and the discharge for it was unique, and oh, I miss it. And it's a very grand shame because, fun fact, if you look back in the footage, like in the hunts, I did use Slash Axe. I really didn't use it to its fullest capabilities. And I only learned how to use counter, the gauge, and energy sword mode in literally the last 2 days of Frontier. Because I remember just before Christmas Eve, I was practicing at QnA for a few attempts trying to figure out how the hell to do the gauge or figure out how it works. And I notice, wait a minute, touchpad. Would they really go the distance and use the fucking touchpad? I mean, it's listed on the side here in the moves, so it must do something, and lo and behold, touchpad on PlayStation 4 is the key. They finally have a use for it. Frontier is one of the few games I can think of off the top of my head to have a good function, or even just use the touchpad as a whole. That's kind of ridiculous. And yeah, I would like to see Tonfas back in the main series and Magnet Spikes, even though I never played Magnet Spikes, because the version of Frontier I played wasn't caught up to the most recent, and Magnet Spikes were Z Zenith, whereas the version I played was just Zenith, so yeah. But I did dabble in Tonfas, and I wasn't as proficient in them as I was the Slash Axe, and I kind of fumbled around a bit, but they're a very fun weapon to just mess around with, and with the air combos, and their gimmicks with the gauge and all that, and yeah, I would really like to see them in the main series, see what the main series does, and yeah, more Frontier main series, baby. I always appreciate it. Alright, going back to Pokemon for a short bit for this one question. Green King says, what Pokemon would you pick as your starter that aren't starters or legendaries? Well, fuck, you got me good, because if it was legendaries, I would say either Shadow Lugia, very specifically, or Giratina. But, considering no starters, no legendaries. It's a generic option, I know, considering his popularity, but I'd probably say Lucario. I've always liked that Pokemon as a kid. He's just kind of a cool Pokemon that it's like, hey, what can you go wrong with? Even though he is, some people would argue, overrated. But, I mean, I don't know. I just like Lucario. That's a nice one to just kind of have as a starter, especially with, like, Riolu. Other than that, maybe Galvantula? I actually really like Galvantula a lot. It's weird, because I don't like spiders, but Galvantula and Joltik are really cool spider monsters. They're bug electric, and it's Tarantula with Electro Web and all that. And hey, Joltik is fucking adorable. It's so adorable and just tiny. It's one of the smallest Pokemon ever. And it's like, how can you not like it? So I guess off the top of my head, knowing that there's hundreds and hundreds of Pokemon to go through without starters or legendaries, I'd probably say either Riolu into Lucario or Joltik into Galvantula. I just like those two Pokemon a lot, and yeah, I think that'd make for a unique starter choice when it comes to Pokemon. Ratchet Gamer 02 asking, who is my most hated boss in video games and why? Ooh. In video games as a whole. So I just thought of a recent one. One of my least favorite bosses in recent memory is the Headless Ape duo from Sekiro. The thing is, I don't already like the standard Guardian Ape battle as is. I think it's a meh fight personally that can get irritating. But it's like, even for Guardian Ape, I could say that was well designed. Whereas the Headless Ape duo has no fucks given for good game design, no care in the world whatsoever for balance, or even just the concept of a double battle like they've done in the past with Ornstein and Smo. It's just, here, let's plop in 2 of the same boss in different forms into one gigantic as fuck arena, and just have them at the same time. You don't change anything about them when it comes to their timing or their way of attacking. You don't balance them and make them work like a tag team like Ornstein and Smo or other tag team fights in Soulsborne. No, you just have them both at the same time, and the best you can do to account for them and counter their attacks and do the fight well is to just run around like an asshole. Run around like as if you're a chicken that just got his head cut off. That's the best you can do when it comes to the fight. You just run around like an idiot over and over again in circles for the slightest second you can to get a hit on one of the apes, and then you back off, rinse and repeat again. It's just, there's no care whatsoever given to the boss's strategy or even the good design and balance. It's just there. And even then, it's like, it's super fucking tight with the timing, and it can be inconsistent because of the 2 apes, or like what one ape decides to do. And of course, it still has all the same annoying things that Garnape has from the original fight, like the terror scream and the weird attacks and all that. It just now has both. It now has both phases at the same time. There's now 2 of them. That's my favorite. Oh, joy. But yeah, I'd say that's the one off the top of my head. But when it comes to a boss farther back, I don't know. I think the Headless Ape is the best I can go for at the moment. It's an annoying fight that really gets on my nerve. It's boring as shit. And it just shows a complete lack or care of design. And, just even attention as a whole. So yeah, I'd say that's my answer. Okay, next question that's gonna come in from our good old pal Quentin, aka Rizeklos. So, are there any other games or pieces of media specifically you want to focus on making content for in the future? Also, watch more pieces of media, you literal bastard, and play Blasphemous, you Protestant fuck buckets. Yeah? Alright. I kind of have a focus at the moment with action or games or media that have a focus on action or on player control. And I think that's what I want to focus on in the foreseeable future. So hack and slashes, hunting games, Soulsborne, all that kind of stuff. I do want to focus more on Soulsborne actually in the future, considering Elden Ring, which still doesn't have a damn release date, and just the various games of Soulsborne and Soulsborne-likes that you can make a career and entire channel off of, and just stuff like that. I guess outside of action, also games that have a focus on monsters or hunting. So, that's also something that's just kind of paired up coincidentally with the games I've liked to show off on my channel, like Devil May Cry, Monster Hunter, of course, and the Soulsborne series. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't like to expand out. That's the whole point of Royal Autopsy, to try and expand out and cover other games without having to do an entire series on that one game or devote myself to a new media. With Royal Autopsy, I can just talk about in a review kind of style, but also impression style, what I think about the game and the good or bad with it. Or it doesn't even have to be a recent game. It can be any game I've played. So I'm hoping that can expand my content or allow me to cover games, whether inside that parameter of action or monster focus, or even outside. But yeah, I do also intend on playing Blasphemous in the future. I have my eye on it. It's just kind of a thing where I need to get around to actually buying it, and also considering money and all that. Nowadays, with games being fucking $60 to $70, it's like you really have to kind of choose what games you want to buy wisely, because if that game isn't good, or doesn't have a lot to it, it's like, well shit, there goes $60 down the drain. And YouTube is slow when it comes to making money on just the platform as a whole. But yeah, whenever I do want to get around to purchasing Blasphemous, preferably on a sale, if that would be good, and yeah, other stuff like that. When Strive comes out, I do want to buy Strive, Guilty Gear Strive, and play that, and other things like that. And yes, of course, I am in the endeavor at the moment to watching more pieces of media and anime as a whole. So, yeah, it's a slow progress, but hey, I'll eventually get there. And then, last question for the Q&A from good old Shimi Nakamura. I don't know if people are memeing with me about the fic question, because yeah, they did post a meme-ass fic question, and that had a lot of upvotes. But, the real question, when is Yakuza stream? When will you watch Lord of the Rings? When will you watch Hunter x Hunter? Godzilla v Khan movie rating? So Yakuza stream, I do actually have Yakuza 0 on my PlayStation 4, ready to play and all that, for a while now. It's just been a matter of having other games to sit through, and well, of course, considering that Rise came out a month ago and it's still going to be going for a while, it's like, that's a top priority, of course, playing Rise and providing content for that. There are so many games I need to get to and play and finish up, like Astral Chain, Hades, Resident Evil 2 Remake, all that kind of stuff. I need to really focus on, like, and decide what games I need to play or focus on streaming, and what games I want to do off camera. Because some games like Hades, there's like, yeah, no, that's better for streaming just because of, like, how much content is in Hades, where every run has new dialogue and new challenges and new modifiers and all of that. Every run is unique. It's like, fuck me. That would be hell just only recording that as MP4 files. Lord of the Rings in time, Hunter x Hunter. I am trying to get more on top of the anime watching at the moment. I have been watching more anime as of recently, so that might just be one I watch eventually / soonish. I'm currently going through Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, so yeah, Hunter x Hunter, that will be eventual. And then Godzilla v Khan movie rating. Oh yeah, I guess this comment I'm about to bring up ties back into the previous question. I did try my hand early on, like very early on, 2017-ish, movies or like Godzilla and all of that. Like I did a shitty Shin Godzilla that was completely unscripted and had a shitty setup. And I remember trying to do Kong Skull Island and just not really feeling it. And I guess I'm just not that kind of person to review movies. I decided that a while ago, and I've just kind of stuck to that ever since. But if I am to kind of touch upon Godzilla v Khan and what I think of it, I think I'd give it a 7 out of 10. It's a good movie. Like, with Godzilla v Khan, you're there for the monsters. You're there for Godzilla and Khan and whoever else duking it out and slapping each other across the face with axes and claws and atomic breath and all that. That being said, the plot isn't exactly the strongest, and I do have a couple of issues, mainly with their use of Serizawa's son, which was just, oh my god, that is wasted to all fucking back. And a couple of other things, but I mean, it's a good movie. And I am looking forward to see if the MonsterVerse continues in the future, what they do for it, and what their plans are going to be, considering the support and response that Legendary had to people being like, continue the MonsterVerse. I'm looking forward to see if they can bring in more Toho kaiju, like Space Godzilla, maybe Destroya even, that would be amazing. Or hell, even just to see them introduce more original kaiju, even though they weren't on screen often. I'd say like Kingdom of the Monsters had a very solid roster of new kaiju in terms of designs, like Methuselah and Behemoth and Scylla, and I would actually like to see more of those original kaiju in more movies, or see new ones, or just see, like, okay, how do they work? How would they fight? What's their role in Earth and all of this? I think that would be nice. But I guess we'll see when if like the MonsterVerse even continues. But yeah, I'd say 7 out of 10. It's a solid movie, and it delivers on the action, I'll say. And yeah, this is 43 minutes into recording, probably around 38-ish when it comes to me trimming down all of this. And yeah, that's the end of Q&A Part 2. And I do actually want to continue doing more of these. So what I'm going to do is, instead of making a new post, I'm just going to make this episode and any episode I make in the future of this series a springboard for more episodes. So, on this episode, yeah, you can feel free to comment down below. Feel free to ask me more questions for future episodes. It can be any question. It doesn't have to be monster-based or content creator-based or whatsoever. You can just ask me whatever question you want to ask. And of course, if I want to, or whenever I get to, if there's enough, I'll make another one. And hopefully we can continue doing this, because these are a good, nice way of making content and also just interacting with the community and the people who watch my channel. And yeah, thank you all for supporting me and watching my videos and commenting and all that. It really means a lot. And I hope you guys enjoyed this and look forward to whatever else is next on the channel. Trust me, I know some people might be sick of all the Monster Rise. Trust me, I know. There's still some more I need to get through and archive and schedule, especially with 2.0. That's going to be coming in the future. There's still going to be more monster hunts, but yes, I am trying my hardest with getting other videos out amidst all of this. But yeah, I thank you all for watching this video and supporting me. I have been TheMonarchofDragons, and I hope you all have a fantastic day / night wherever you live. Peace.